Yeah, you know, and it's just a few of those little things like that that happen when you get that magic kiss that you know can mean a difference on whether you get fifth place or get knocked out 1 and 2 or win the tournament. That's the difference when you start to play these guys' speed. You know, that's it can just be everything.
One shot here and there, just the way they decide to roll. Yeah, those kicks, sometimes it's hard to control the outcome, but at least you want to make sure you hit the ball. It pays to hit them, right? You may have left them safe, you never know.
Yeah, yeah. That's, you know, it's a lot better than ball in hand. The alternative is almost a guaranteed loss.
Right.
At least this way you don't let him have the benefit of putting it where he wants. And, you know, you don't want to have that anytime feeling that your opponent could safe you and he feels that he can get ball in hand because you don't kick well. You want to hit the ball every time, even if it's a sellout, you know.
Right.
Now,
interesting angle.
yeah, I thought he was going to try and get a little bit straighter. Now, if I was him, I think I'd have to take this ball across now. Hit it with a little pace, make sure it doesn't hang, but, you know, don't baby it down the rail. And he did so.
That's the problem. It floats down too much.
Yeah.
But he's okay.
He's fine. I think he's going to have no problem whatsoever with this shot. And just like that, it's 2-1 in favor of Eric Moore. For those of you just joining us, you're watching the Virginia State 9-Ball Championships. We're here at Midlothian, Virginia at Diamond Billiards. Joining me is Max Everly. I'm J.R. Calvert. We're with Inside Pool Magazine. I'd like to thank one of our sponsors here for a second. Thank Simonis Cloth, non-directional cloth. Great cloth for anybody that's playing the game for what, more than 3 days. I think they know Simonis Cloth.
Right.
It's been a big supporter of tournaments going around the world for the last decade. I think the last 5 years they put a number out of over $1 million added into tournaments.
Wow.
Which is
Nice.
just incredible. But yeah, they're supporting us at this event also. Wanted to make sure that they got a mention, you know, but obviously we have Intrust, McDermott, Diamond Billiards, Rack Tight, Tight Rack. Just to name a few.
Does she have a tight rack? Simonis, isn't that run by Ian Simonis or Ewan? The guy who didn't he just? Isn't that? It's his. He's in the family, right?
Yeah, I
Ewan
think
Simonis.
that's been the name of the company for 400 years.
And that's his name though too, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think Mark Simonis is the name of the gentleman that's running it. But Ivan Lee.
Ivan Lee, that's it. Ivan
is
Lee.
the president of the
Yeah.
U.S.
Okay.
branch, North American, I believe the official title is. And, you know, great guy. Great guy. He's the president of the BCA, just newly elected president of the board of directors of the BCA. For those in the industry, this tournament comes one day after the BCA Home and Recreation show that took place at the Las Vegas Convention Center out in Las Vegas. Good show this year. A lot of vendors, a lot of buyers, which everybody liked, and the industry looks like it's on an upswing again.
Nice.
So
That's great.
it's always nice to have good news.
I love going to that show. I haven't been in a couple of years, but it's always fun seeing those brand new pool tables and all those cues. And
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things there to see. There's all kinds of great products. Good people, you know, it's once a year you get together, you get to, you know, have a face to go to a name that might, otherwise you might have never met or not ever, you know, had any inkling of what this person was like outside of a business situation. It's a great time to get together and network. Good times. But back to the pool match. I think Eric's got this one in the bag too.
Greg Gilliam, Ignacio Medina.
I agree
race
with that
9.
shot. He didn't want to pull that shot up too much. He wanted to just go to that side of the table because he knew either side that he got on was going to be pretty much out. Now, the one thing that I do want to say about this shot is I go down the table on this shot one rail.
Right. Like that. Right?
Yep, just like that. I like to use how high on the ball I hit to kind of create the angle, and then put just a hair of spin. If you overspin it, you start to bring the side pocket into the play, and too many players end up scratching on that shot.
Right.
And you might say, oh, it only takes up 2% of the rail, but it'll take up 70% of the ball as soon as you start putting spin on it. You know, it's just, there's something funny about those particular shots.
Also on the one ball side, table 14, Sam Coleman, Dana Machado.
Give us a score rundown here, Max. Where are we at?
Eric Moore leads the match over Danny Mastermaker, 3-1.
Excellent, excellent.
So he's loving life right now. He's a happy camper.
Well, how do you like the way Eric breaks? Yeah, he's starting to feel comfortable now. You can see it.
He's laughing at the crowd, winking at girls. He's
telling jokes the whole bit, you know.
Yeah.
I think he just offered to buy Danny a Coke, so you know it's really, you know, it's over when your opponent asks you if you need a drink.
Yeah, right.
No, it's not that bad, folks.
Can I buy you a drink?
Well, he hit him pretty good. Looks like he's left a shot on the one here. It's not the best shot, but it is a shot, and it's something that I think that he can start with for sure. As far as things go, though, if I was Danny, I think I'd really have to bear down on making this shot. If I'm going to shoot at this shot, I have to make it, because 3-2 is a world of difference from 4-1. You know, 4-1, and you know, Eric actually might buy him a drink.
You know, I almost confused Danny for Mike DeShane when I first saw him. Mike DeShane, I almost confused him for Mike DeShane. I was like, wait, is Mike here?
Yeah, he does look like Mike DeShane, doesn't he? We'll have to ask our producer, Alvin Nelson, to bring up the Mike DeShane piece during one of the breaks here so everybody can see what we're talking about. If you're not familiar with Mike DeShane, he looks a lot like Danny Mastermaker. You know, I had to take a second look at myself here for a second.
Really?
I keep saying that's Mike in my, you know.
When is the U.S. Open, JR, this year?
It's a good question. I believe that it is around the middle of October. You know, we're guilty. We made an ad for Barry Berman, the promoter of the U.S. Open, and when you're designing, you're just designing colors and shapes.
Yeah.
And we put the dates in and made sure they were the right dates,
Oh, yeah.
and walked away. And I even showed Barry his ad the other day at the show, and never once looked at the date.
What's that?
I never once really took note of the date. So I think it's the middle of October.
Middle of October.
Well, Eric just made a really solid hard hit. I think he tried to get those balls to split up because he was kicking the side kick off of long rail, and it did not split up for him, and he's left Danny an easy shot to kind of get started on the same side of the table. And let me apologize to Danny for calling him Mike later in this event when I see him shooting.
Well, yeah, I brought it up, so I
Well,
apologize too. But I just thought it was kind of funny.
Now, this is a little bit funny. You know, he didn't want to be on this rail. He wanted to be able to pull this back. You can see Josh Dickerson making sure that he's not blocking us out. Thank you, Josh. But he's going to be making a call. And this is a little bit of a funky hit, and I don't blame Eric for calling him in.
We need a ref cam.
Now he played a smart shot here.
Yeah, it was a nice one too.
Well, you see what he did here. He did leave the bottom rail open, but by putting that in between the three balls on this end of the table, he really improved his chances of having either A, a sellout, or B, a hard shot, as far as, you know, kicks and even pocketing the ball if he lets it see it straight like that.
I mean, look at this. He just.
Who? What? Wow. That was just a great shot. I mean, what did he give that, 2 strokes or 3? I don't even know. But maybe it's irrelevant at this point here. Now it looks like he can cut this 6 in and run 4 rails and get on the 7. But boy, he doesn't look like he's queuing up to do that, though, does he? I don't know. You know,
awfully confident on that. Look at this.
Yeah, I don't really like that shot. Well, you know, the 9 looks like it's big, but this is where, you know, you think it's right there.
So by saying big, you mean it's like big to block the pocket?
Yeah,
block
it does.
The shot on the 6.
But it doesn't always have to do that. I mean, it has to literally lay on the bottom rail where he was at, or I think the 6 starts to come back up, and you start to get that free shot.
Oh yeah.
You know, the one where you can either overcut or undercut the 6, let the cue flop on the other rail, and you know you're pretty safe. But let's see. I think he might have got away with this. Yeah. See Danny doing a little masse here. See, I didn't agree with that. I think I'm going to have to cross over that ball and kind of kick it up 2 diamonds high up on the rail and see if the cue ball runs and gets the 9 back into the game.
That's a good idea.
You know, there's a lot to jumping and massing that are just flashy and great. But, you know, take a page out of Efren's book. He's going to kick that ball every time, and he's Efren.
Crossover, kick to the side rail, and then onto the ball.
Yep.
Use the 9 as a blocker.
Yep. I've seen it probably 150 times from Efren in the last couple of years. You know, that's the shot there. It's the shot. You can be deadly accurate with your kick at that speed. Yeah. And you know, it's hard to sell out, and it's really, you know, there's a lot of benefit to maybe getting the safe. You know. Meanwhile,
you know what? Definitely, Efren's kicking stuff impresses me. Wu Cha Ching, Wu Chia Ching, Chia Ching Wu, whatever, the phenom from Taiwan. What impressed me about him, one thing, was that when he kicks at balls, he'll hit them real soft and take a safety. You know, he'll play a little soft safety kick, which would impress me for a teenager. You know, like. Then again, maybe it's just me who would always like to fire at kicks and try to make it. You know what I mean?
Right. So, well, I can tell you. I mean, it's really tempting when you're younger to, you know, smash at balls, and you know you feel like, hey, I'm going to make a ball. But you start to watch a real mechanic tickle those balls and tuck them here and, you know, nick them there, and they know where they're going. It'll change your mind real quick. I think Eric has come up dry again. He sure has. And I can tell you, if he wants to be a contender in this tournament, he's going to need to learn how to break on this table. And Danny tried to do the right shot there. I mean, just split the 2 balls, put them on both on the end rails, and see what's happening, especially with the fact that he had 5 balls on the other side of the table that were going to be in that area. But I think it's not only has he left a pretty good window, I think he's left Eric a pretty big 7 ball down on this end to kind of get him, you know, in behind and underneath. Let's see, this is that shot again that I see a lot of guys try and get that shot to work. Right. And, you know, it might work if somebody doesn't have a lot of, you know, return volley safes, so to speak, into their repertoire. But, you know, You start to play that against somebody that's seen that shot before,
Right.
and you're gonna hate it. You're gonna learn not to do that simple, float it down to the corner shot.
Mm-hmm.
That's for the most part, I think that's just a throw-in play. That's, I think a far more aggressive approach would have been to try and put the cue behind a 7 and bank that ball down this end of the table.
Kind of hold the cue ball with a little hold bottom draw,
Mm-hmm.
control it.
Right.
Yeah, and lock him up a little more.
Yeah, even if he sells out, he's shooting from the end rail.
Right.
I like that a lot better than, possibly putting him 4 or 5 feet closer and leaving him an open shot, or at least a shot to safe you in return. If he's going to safe me, I let him shoot from this position all day long. Meanwhile, he's burying it right in the middle of the pocket, so I'll just shut up. You guys have a good match. I'll see you. Now, the one thing that I got to mention, and you guys might not have brought this up yet, is it is about 98 degrees outside.
Wow.
And it is about 95% humidity. It actually has been sprinkling all day, refusing to really rain, right? What does that do to a pool player? What does that do to a pool table? And, does that mess with him in this situation, Max? I'm sure you've run into that a few times.
Yeah, well, it happens also when a large amount of people are in the room, which just adds to the humidity, all their breath and the moisture and stuff. But it will definitely change the rails, the way they play. They'll bounce the balls off shorter, which is weird, especially if it happens all of a sudden. But yeah, it changes the way the rails play. The balls seem to get a little stickier, seem to collect dirt a little better, so which is kind of weird. Makes them not play as
Can't really
as good.
slow roll balls either because they
Right.
just stick together.
Yeah.
It's like they got gum on them or something of some sort, and it's just from all the humidity, the moisture in the cloth.
I haven't talked to any of the players about that. I've been under this nice cool fan all day, so may as well be 50 degrees outside. I don't know, but how are the players talking about it? Are they playing kind of humid, the tables?
No, they're not. They're not discussing it, and I think it's because we've been in this situation for several weeks where there's a heat wave hitting most of the nation right now.
Oh yeah.
And the players are getting this all over, so it's
Yeah.
not just Richmond that's feeling this. But what it's going to do, I think, in the long run, is it's harder to play the game. It just makes it harder, and it's one more factor where, we were talking about one player in particular who keeps seeming to get better every year. For him to finish better, he might have to play twice as good, so to speak,
Right.
just to get the same results of seeing, like in his own mind, of playing as good as he did last year. And it's because nobody can run out right now the same way they would run out on a 25% humidity, 72-degree day. Now, granted, the AC is taking care of a lot of this and keeping up with it. But when you stress any commercial AC by, jamming several hundred people into a room on top of a 98-degree day with 95,
Right.
and doors opening, there's going to be humidity, and even the front door plays a little. The table by the front door is going to play a little different from the table near the back. So I think there's a lot going on there.
Oh yeah. It's like a golf round or something. The wind's picking up at the British Open.
Exactly. Well, I think Eric might be asking Danny if he wants a sandwich too to go with that drink because he's starting to sprint away, and the score is now 5-1. For those of you just joining us, we are watching the Virginia State 9-Ball Championship. We're here live at Diamond Billiards in Midlothian, Virginia. Stream is sponsored by Intrust, Wealth Management, McDermott Q, Simona's Cloth, and Diamond Billiards. Now, I know one time, just a funny little story, I was playing in Louisiana, and I just happened to be winning, and they went in the back, and they fired up a big pot. And I mean not a small pot. I mean like one of those 150-gallon pots of water to do crawdads. and they made a big old crawdad boil right there in the pool room, in the back of the pool room. It was in the kitchen. And I mean, it was already 90-something degrees. It was a day like today.
Oh, that's a great
So
story.
they fire this thing up, and I mean, neither one of us, by the end of them cooking these crawdads, could draw our ball an inch. I mean, you could be 2 feet away from the ball, and you could hit it as hard as you wanted to hit it. There was no draw going to be on that ball. You had your choice of follow or stop. So needless to say, it changed the angle of the game there a little bit.
Ivan told me you had some good stories. That's a good one. Got a book.
The crawdads were good. I don't know about the story.
Did you eat the crawdads after what happened? Did you win or lose, or what happened?
I ended up squeaking it out. I got lucky, but
you demon. Then you ate their crawdads.
yeah, exactly. I bought the crawdads, of course. Well, I think Danny has heard me.
Those crawdads aren't going to be liking it. I don't know where. Are they from the delta, the river delta? Are they in salt water?
I don't think so. I don't think they are. I thought that they were freshwater.
Freshwater bayou
Yeah,
crawdads?
I thought so. Yeah, I thought that's how that worked. I know that there's a way that they purge them and everything else, but for a day. But I think that has more to do with their digestion tract, so that you have a clean crawdad rather than getting rid of the salt out of the fish or anything like that. But what do I know? Interesting. Not a cooking show, Max, but I can give you cooking tips anytime you want. Well, he's getting them a sandwich, fries, a drink. Danny's about ready to put his feet up here, and Eric, I think, wants to make this 7-1. And I'll be honest, I was kind of surprised that Danny was at the table and running out while we were telling the crawdad story, and made a small mistake, and it cost him. And we're back to this same situation again, where right now 90% of the players in this field would want to stumble across the finish line. You might get an extra shot out of them. But we're talking about Eric Moore, a past champion who's proven that he will step up and take that next game. He's not going to wait for you to give it to him, and that's what's going to happen here. So, the pressure really is on Danny to get up and claim these games. And, I mean, he has to send a really powerful message. I think he has to put 2 or 3 racks down here to really have any effect on Eric's next stroke. And I like the rhythm he's playing at. I mean, he's not scared right now, and it seems like he's being realistic about things, which is good.
Calm down there. Just run out. Run the rack. Well, he's got a little quandary here. Just about control. This is an interesting shot. Let's see how he handles it.
Oh, he hit it with a lot of inside. I like that shot. But the problem that happens there is he tried to double the rail. And I think if he doesn't try to double the rail and lets the ball float more on a line towards the 8, he can come back for that 6 close enough that he can get that shot off. Now he's got to really, he would like, in other words, he'd like to be towards the center of the table, about in a line with the 9 ball. That way he wouldn't have had to play around so much.
Well, he recovered nicely, and now he's just got to bear down and pocket this ball. He looks to be out here.
Yeah, this is the point where you got to worry about him making a mistake like he did last track. And a lot of times I've heard this where those first 4 or 5 balls are easy when you're getting crushed. Get down and just pocket the balls. But now when you got to think about winning a game, sometimes you can put one right into the rail. And they'll even say the same thing about the first 4 or 5 games. It's and this probably from doing it.
Back, you mean?
When you're coming back, sometimes the hardest ball to make is that one that ties the game, and then the next hardest one to make is the one when you actually go forward and start winning the game.
Right.
Some guys, they want to quit when it's 8-8. No, there's still more pool to be played.
Right.
You got back in the set, but now you're not done yet. And so I'd like to see this 6-2. We could be watching the beginning of a nice comeback here.
6-2. Is it 6? Yeah.
Yeah. Danny looks like he hits these balls pretty good. Let's see how square he's. Nice. Q got away from him a little bit. Well, he's seeming to do something that Eric hasn't done yet, and it's, you know, keep control of the table after the break. He's got a shot on the 1. The 2's a little funny, but I think it'll come down in this corner pocket. Yeah.
That was
I
the
guess
main
this
thing.
is the 2 down in the
That
corner.
was a tough shot on the 1. I mean, at least it seems tougher in that situation.
Well, I think that's the one where you got to bear down a little bit. You know, that's the one that you get started and could put yourself into a position on the rack again.
Mm-hmm.
And look at Eric. Eric is saying, you know what? I know you'll make a mistake eventually if I keep playing tight. As long as he doesn't make any mistakes from here, Eric's, you know, thinking he's going to be the odds-on favorite to win. And his strategy has paid off with a shot. I don't see any problems in the out. The first thing he's going to have to do is get through these balls to get a shot at the 2, and I think that's going to be fairly easy. Even though he got a little close to that ball, that's about as bad as out of line as he could get there.
Well, where's the 4?
The 4 is the ball that he almost clipped there when he came by.
So
See, he's got it's the 6-8 that might be a little bit funny. The 8 is the ball in between, or closest to the side pocket there.
this, because to me that looks like the 6, the one out there, and the 4 looks in the back.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. If our
I could too,
producer
I'm just
could
saying.
switch us down to the other end, we might be able to get a better idea of the shot. Boy, he's good.
Can we can't, can we maximize the screen at all, or no? It doesn't work. No.
Yeah, so it looks to me like you're right, Max. The 4 is the one that's underneath the 8 and 6. The 6 and 8 are in a line, and he's coming down here to get a shot on it. So this wasn't quite as easy as what it looked like.
It's a little tricky. He's just gonna come out one rail right to that where he's looking, and he might like to shoot the 6-8 combo.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He doesn't like this. This is not what he wanted. Nobody wants to shoot this shot with half their cue ball missing, or a third. And when it's on the rail at that angle, you can lose the center of the ball really easy.
Oh yeah.
And that's what happens. It'll squirt a little bit on you, and you
Yep.
think you're one place, and you're not there.
Right.
Yeah, that's and you could see he swung his stick a little bit in disgust.
That's the value of cue ball control.
It sure
You
is.
don't want to be putting yourself on the rail very often.
Yep.
You know? I mean, it happens, but try to avoid it.
Well, let's see if Danny has the composure to do more than 3 strokes and shoot at this ball. No. Yeah, see, I think. Well, I'm sorry to be right in that position, but. Well. And yeah. See, now Eric got a little bit funny on this ball. You know, you either go all the way over and shoot the combo, or you stay inside this line 6 to the pocket so your cue runs away from the 8. You know, this was a very funny mistake at this stage of the game. Yep.
I'm surprised he didn't shoot the 6 up in the corner and then just come off the side rail for the 8 up in the same corner.
Yeah, and you know, and he even had an option there where he could have let the cue float into the 8. You know, with a soft roll. It's a little bit more controlled than what he was doing. Anytime you shoot a combination, now you're really asking for trouble. And trust me, it delivered. He's going to be all right on this. I mean, he's going to be in the center of the table, same side of the table roughly. I think he should walk around the table and look at this.
I think he did a little bit, right? Took a peek at it.
And just like that.
7-2.
7-2.
Eric Moore over Danny Mastermaker.
For those of you just joining in, you're watching the Virginia State 9-Ball Championships here at Diamond Billiards in Midlothian, Virginia. You're watching Eric Moore and Danny Mastermaker. Eric is up 7-2 and breaking. Take a second here to mention one of our sponsors is poolschool.info. They've been helping out Josh Dickerson for a while, and they're helping out in this event a little bit, and at the same time ProPool.com. Now, we're going to be providing live stats in some of the matches. I know tomorrow we have a statistician that's going to be feeding us stats so that we can see how the players are actually, at what speed they're playing at. Anybody that's not familiar with ProPool.com, go check it out. It's a great way to get your game rated, help you improve the game, and check out and see what Ron Hoffman's got going on. He's got a lot of really cool ideas on how to do tournaments, run them, and get people into a system where you know, it's more than just something ambiguous like, oh, he plays the 8-ball better than me.
Right.
You can say, no, he plays a 903, and this guy plays an 860. That's, you know, it gives you an idea of numerical value. And, yeah, Ron's been working on that system for about 15 years, and he has thousands of players in that. I'm sure you're in there, Max.
Really?
Yeah, be amazed at what he's done. He goes back and watches matches, scores them all, and puts everybody's game into a perspective. So
where is he located?
He is right now in Washington State, but he's lived in Arizona, and he went around on the Pro Tour for 5 years back in the Camel Tour days. Spent the last 10 years after the Camel Tour went down, compiling stats on players, results, monies that they've won. I mean, the wealth of information that's available at this site is just amazing.
Check it out.
Yeah, it's worth a look-see. Now, Eric finally made a ball, but, you know, Whitey went on one end, and the yellow ball went right down on the, you know, second diamond, of course. Or, well, first diamond, I guess. So he's kind of had to play safe. And, you know, one thing I got to say about Danny right now is if he came out of this match and said, is there anything that I can do, I would tell him, you know, he's playing the right way. He's, you know, got a, you know, very little fear. But I think what he needs to do is study the shot and visualize the shot. Take a second to visualize it, because he's just three-stroking everything. And unless he's just playing give-up pull right now, you know, and this, I think I'm starting to think that this is his game, because he hasn't changed his game during this match. And I think he needs to take a little time and know when he's shooting a hard shot and visualize it and bury it.
Bear down.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good to have a few different gears available to yourself, like a little slower gear, grindy gear, where you can get the job done.
Right.
You know.
Granny gear. Well,
yeah.
You know, there's a time when you want to be a watchmaker. You want to be able to get in there and work real slow and precise. And then there's times when you want to be swinging a sledgehammer and just mangling balls. And right now, he just has only showed me how to swing a sledgehammer.
Right.
And I need to see him become a watchmaker to get through a set like this, because Eric's going to chew him up. He keeps giving him shots that require a surgeon's touch, and he's getting in there with a hatchet like a lumberjack. You know what I mean? He's just bang, 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 bang. So I think, you know, he's got a great potential as far as a player. He just needs to learn a few more different strokes, and I think he'll be fine.
More of a one-pockety type stroke, and feel once in a while you need that.
I remember one time I was playing a match, and I couldn't catch a roll. I mean, for the life of me. And he kicks it right in. So Danny gets punished one more time for in this set. But the particular set I was talking about is I was just getting punished. And I didn't want to let the guy back to the table. That was my feeling, because I felt every time I touched a cue ball and shot, it meant a game for this guy. So I was in no hurry to strike the cue ball yet again and give this guy a point. I mean, I just didn't. I had that feeling. And I just slowed down just a hair. And I had never done this before in my life. And I looked at the shots a little bit more. And I reasoned with what was at the table and what was going on. And it was like a monkey probably using a tool for the first time. I mean, you know, I literally came up with some other strokes and pulled pulled the set out because I slow played the guy in his opinion. But to me, it's because I was really trying to think the match out. And I learned some new strokes, and I really tried to get in there and to just, you know, make some decisions that were smart, not ones that just seemed like they were going to make a ball or be the, you know, the right shot, you know. And even though I knew it, I wanted to wait before I shot it. You know, knowing the answer and then preparing yourself to make the right stroke so that what you produce is the right answer are two different things. And that's what I discovered that day. That little bit of time I took really made a difference in my performance. Anyway.
Good stuff. Come on, pool monkey. Come on, play pool for us, pool monkey. Come on.
Come on, monkey.
Just kind of referencing this thing that happened back in Hollywood. I got hired to do pool shooting for a fancy party. I was telling my friend about it. He goes, "Oh, they want you to be their pool monkey, huh?" just funny. So. But yeah, definitely. You can think your way out of a tough situation and be a champion.
Well, anyway, looks like we're at a stage right now where this would be, you know, a good lesson. The slowdown lesson that I was telling you about for Danny to know. And, you know, again, knowing the right shot and thinking that you're going to do it, that's one thing. But making sure that you do it at this stage, you know, and taking a little time and visualizing the shot. You know, trying to feel how it's going to feel in your arm when you produce that stroke and getting in touch with that. It's so crucial because, and as a player who might beat balls around in practice, you think you're going to produce that, and then you don't do it, and then you just kind of keep relying on that, and you'll go to that well, and it won't be there. So that's all I got to say to Danny is he may need to think twice about some of the times that, you know, he takes on certain shots. And I'm sure you've seen it when you're sitting here and you go, oh, he's shooting already. Like literally, he's already shot, and I still would be making sure that this is the way the shot's going to feel when I let go. And we all know the answer almost within a second of seeing the ball stop, you know, on about 90% of the shots. But we still want to make sure that we're in touch with what that shot's going to look and feel like, and maybe even sound like when we do it. And Danny's getting up and shooting before there's any position like that.
Right.
Well, here we go. Could get exciting here. And it sure is. He rolled the dice a little bit.
Got a tough shot here.
Well, he'll three-stroke it in.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3.
4. 5. Oh, he did. He took 4.
Well, he hit a quality shot. This one is a funny angle, too, out in the middle of the table, so he's got to negotiate this one in.
But this is where it catches up with you. You make 2 or 3 in a row, and then you say, well, I'm going to make this one in 3 strokes, too, and you don't try as hard. You know, and see how I just got that tip of the pocket going in?
Right.
that could have easily, he could have turned that ball over just a hair more, and we'd be watching Eric win this set from here. And that's, you know, that's a big difference.
Eric's up 7-2, right? Is that the score?
I believe it is 8-2.
8-2 now.
Yeah. And, you know, go Danny. I mean, I love seeing this. You know, shoot at him, make him scared. But what makes him more scared than anything is that you're putting points on the board, of course. So I hope he can complete this and get us with, you know, 8-3. And there it is. It's that little turnover. It's just like anything else. It's a definition of why you play position. Everybody can make one hard shot, maybe 2 or 3, but you just can't keep making them all day. And that's what's going on. Is he's 1, 2, 3 shoot on everything, and that's going to catch up with him.
Mm-hmm. And that was a tricky shot to boot. Like the high inside, following down to the end rail and back.
Exactly. That's a quality shot there from Eric. That's the guy that what we were talking about. He's not waiting for that easy out. He'll go ahead and make that hard shot and win the set.
Right.
And big difference here. Look at this. This is something that Danny would have shot already. Eric's weighing his options, and we can see the two clashing styles and what it does to the score.
He might just roll this in and shoot the 9 in the side is what he's looking at.
I think he might even consider rolling it. There you go. Close enough that he can even, you know, cut it in the side and let the cue go to the bottom rail, so that if it tips up or anything, you know, it goes down table and the cue's down table here. It's a nice shot, and I think that ends the game, does it? I think that's 9.
Is it, or was he moving?
Our producer's giving us the thumbs up that looks like 9, and yeah, I think it's all done. Nobody's running to rack the balls. So our winner today, Eric Moore, former champion, over top of Danny Mastermaker. For those of you that just joined in, you're watching the Virginia State 9-Ball Championships here at Diamond Billiards in Midlothian, Virginia. I'm J.R. Calvert. Joining me here in the booth is Max Eberly. I don't know who we got coming up next round, but we'll be feeding you somebody here in about 5 or 10 minutes. Our producer's giving us a thumbs up that he's going to start rolling some small pieces here. He might even run that piece with Mike DeShane. He's giving me the, yeah, he thinks he's got it, so we'll let you know that we're not crazy. Danny Mastermaker going to be setting in for Mike DeShane any day now on the Pro Tour. But Max, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, JR. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay.
All right, everybody, stay tuned. We'll get you another match here in about 10 minutes. Take care.